Hi, I'm Leach, and I'm going to share a little story with you that happened December 23rd of 24 last year. I was spreading some calcium chloride on my road with my tractor to control the dust, and looked behind me to see if there was any traffic on the road, and took my eyes off the road and ended up getting real close to the edge of the road. There was a lot of loose gravel on the edge of the road, and it sucked me into the ditch, except for the ditch was about a 15-foot drop off into a creek bed. And about halfway down, I decided to jump off the tractor. I didn't want to ride it down and watch it flip over on top of me. And I was successful at that, but the landing wasn't very successful. And whenever I hit on my back on my left side, and I broke 10 out of the 11 ribs, fractured my collarbone, punctured my lung, and did some damage to the third vertebrae in my neck. I'm very thankful that I didn't ride the tractor all the way down, because it ended up flipping upside down and I would have been underneath that. And we all know the horror stories of tractors killing people. It's a real thing. The tractor was still running at that time, and so I had to kind of crawl over there. Obviously, I had the wind knocked out of me and wasn't functioning on a very high level. And I was able to pull the kill switch on the diesel and get it to stop. And I laid back down and I thought, okay, I'm hurt pretty bad. I'm not going to get out of here by myself. My phone was in my left pocket, and my left side wasn't working at all. My arm was kind of dead on the scene. And so as I'm fishing my phone out of my pocket, I finally got it out, and a pickup came over the hill and actually stopped, and I hollered at them, and they had their window rolled down, and they looked over into the ditch, and the gentleman says, "Tab?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm not okay." I said, "Call an ambulance, I need some help." And later, talking to that gentleman, he did not hear me holler. The reason he had stopped was because there was a dump truck coming down the road the opposite direction, and he was going to have to back up, as the road to my house is pretty much just one lane. And had that dump truck came back, he probably would have not seen me. And of course, Kathleen was at the house. I probably would have been able to get a hold of her, but the way God lined it up, if somebody was right there whenever I needed them the most. There was actually two people in the pickup. One guy went up to the house and told Kathleen what had happened. The other one came down and sat with me, and the gentleman that went up the house brought some blankets. It took probably 15 minutes for the ambulance to get there, maybe 20, and I was laying on the frozen ground, so the blankets really helped. As I was going into shock, starting to get cold and sweating at the same time. Once the ambulance showed up, my neighbors happened to be in the vicinity. They saw the ambulance pull up. They came down. They had a pickup that they were able to drive down through the field to get to me, because you couldn't just get back on the road because of the drop-off. They put me in the ambulance and took me to the hospital. They ended up putting an incision and putting a tube in my lung to drain the fluid out of there. Did CAT scans on me and found all the broken parts and pieces. The surgery, they plated 4 of my ribs and my collarbone. So there was a total of 6 plates and 44 screws that they put in me. Ironically, showing up on the 23rd of December, nobody wanted to work on me until after Christmas. So I laid in ICU for 3 days. Probably the closest that I've experienced death with all of my adventures in life, certainly the most painful. But the doctors were there. They were all good people. They all did good work on me. 3 months into it now, and I'm about 80%. I feel really good with the outcome, that everything happened the way it did. But certainly I have to give credit to God watching over me. He allowed me to jump free of the tractor, or else the outcome could have been a lot worse. I tell Kathleen I would have just been a memory in a big garage sale at that point. So thankful that the Lord watched over me that day, and I'm able to share this testimony with family and friends.